everyone. Welcome to the world of English with Sakshi Khanna in the continual session Discovering Tut, specially designed lecture for grade 11, book Hornbill, chapter number 3, Discovering Tut, the saga continues, which gives us an insight into the mystery surrounding the life and death of Tutankhamun. Before I start, I just want to ask you that you must be sitting with your PDF based text or your textbook. And if you are not, please open the video once again and get your things back, because without text, this session won't be possible. As in today's session, we are doing line by line explanation. Keep pencil in your hand. You need to underline the main facts as well as the hard word meaning, which I will tell you during reading. Then it will be easy for you people to understand and frame your own questions and answers. And second very important thing about yesterday lecture, and I hope that you must have started the synonyms antonyms based assignment, and Sunday, that is your day for checking, and it will be checked properly. I hope you are doing wonders. So let's get back to the story. What is the story about? I have given you the overview and the plot in my first part. Today is the second part, but still I give you an overview for this story once again. Okay guys, before I move on, I just want to brief you up about the story. Again, it's a video lesson, so you need to focus over the listening, and you are sitting with the book. So please underline the major facts which are coming across reading, and underline the words to ponder. Ponder means to think, which are hard words in the story we are getting. So the Discovering Tut, the saga continues by A.R. William. So this is a PDF based form which I downloaded for today's session. So these are some words: forensic reconstruction, scudded across, casket grey, resurrection, funerary, treasure, circumvented, computed tomography, very detailed. So these all words, such type of words will come across the reading section, and I will give you the meanings which you need to write. I will give you the time as well, okay, because I explain. So let's start. First of all, the briefing about the story. The last teenager ruler of the powerful Pharaoh dynasty that had ruled Egypt for centuries. He was the last of his family line, and his funeral brought an end to this powerful dynasty. Not much is known about his family. Tut's grandfather, Amenhotep III, was a powerful pharaoh who ruled for about 4 decades during the dynasty's golden era. The lesson also provides a comprehensive awareness of ancient Egyptian culture. The ancient Egyptian believed that there was a life after death. That's why pharaohs were buried with a tremendous amount of wealth, including things of daily use, so that they could use them in their life after death. It was also believed that gold would guarantee their resurrections. Resurrection means, it's a very important term. You must have heard in the crucifixion of Christ as well. Resurrection means restoration to life, coming back to life. So, in this story, there are 2 parts. First, about the ancient Egyptian history, their culture, their system, their traditions, their values, and their beliefs. And secondly, they are talking about the major character, Tutankhamun, how he died at such an early age, and he was a teenager and the last ruler. That was the specialty, to know more about this king. Let's start now line by line explanation. Moving to the reading section now, technically reading. He was just a teenager when he died. The last heir. Heir means successor or inheritor. The last heir of powerful family that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. He was laid to rest. Laden means loaded with gold. He was rested in the coffin, it means to say, with the gold, and eventually forgotten. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, the tomb was discovered, coffin was taken out. The modern world has speculated. Speculated means form a theory without evidence. No evidence, but we have created our own theory. It happened like that. That means speculated. The modern world has speculated about what happened to him, with murder being the most extreme possibility. Now leaving his tomb for the first time in almost 80 years, that has undergone a CT scan. After 80 years, that has gone through CT scan, computer tomography, that offers new clues about his life and death and provides precise data for an accurate forensic reconstruction of the boyish face. Forensic reconstruction means the process of recreating the face of an individual. If you have seen CID program show on Sony TV, in the forensic departments, how many times they have created the face of the dead body. That procedure is called as forensic reconstruction. So in this paragraph, only the introduction has been given of Tut and their centuries, how he was buried with lot of treasure, lot of valuables. Okay, and after 80 years, he was taken out from his resting place for the CT scan process to find out the clue, because in the modern age people were talking about he was killed or murdered somehow, and but there was no clue that time. There was no technology. Now how and what happened after the body was taken out? Okay, in 1922 the process started. So let's move to the next page. Moving to the next page. Now, the way how the body was taken out, how the coffin was taken out from the tomb. What happened that time? In this passage, they are explaining us that an angry wind stirred up ghostly. Ghostly means airy, unnatural, unreal. Now, in this passage, question raises that what happened the moment tomb was explored and coffin was taken out. So this was a situation. All the things means what happened in the environment. So your answer is here. An angry wind stirred up. Stir means move up. Ghostly dust. Ghostly dust, airy and unnatural, which is unreal, not normal. Dust devils, as King Tut was taken from his resting place in the ancient Egyptian cemetery. Cemetery, a large burial ground. Where he was buried, he was taken out. And what happened that time? Wind was blowing angrily and ghostly dust, like devils as king. It was like that from the cemetery known as the Valley of the Kings. The name of the cemetery where all the kings were buried was Valley of the Kings. Dark bellied clouds had. Bellied means dark in color. Dark bellied, dark in color. Very dark black clouds had scudded across. Scudded means moving quickly. Moving quickly in the atmosphere. The moment the process has started to take the coffin out from the tomb in the cemetery. Scudded across the desert sky all day and now were veiling. Veiling means to cover something. Veiling the stars in cascade grey. Cascade grey here means a small ornamental box, but it was covered. Grey again, the dark clouds. It mentioned there. Now this was a situation of the atmosphere when the coffin was under process to take out from the tomb. It was 6 p.m. on 5th January 2005. The world's most famous mummy glided. Glided means quite continuous motion. Glided head first in the continuous motion, how on the stretcher the body or the patient comes through the CT scan. In the same way, mummy glided head first. Head went into means continuous motion. It was gone through. It was gone through the CT scan. Brought here to probe. Probe means to investigate. Probe means to investigate, to find out the lingering medical mysteries. Lingering means long lasting, never ended. Medical mysteries of this little understood young ruler who died more than 3,300 years ago. Okay, so here I explain you 3,300 years ago he died. Tut died. Body was taken out for CT scan 2005. It was not the body. Okay? Not complete body. Damaged. You can understand the time zone after 3,300 years ago. Even though mummies were treated properly, technically, chemically, but still it was not in the good condition. So CT scan was made in 2005 because they got this technology in 21st century only. It was not in that condition. That in 1922 they were not having such type of tomography, computed tomography procedure. So they waited and the technology advanced and it led to the investigation once again. All afternoon, the usual line of tourists from around the world has descended. Descended means gathered, collected into the cramped, very small to fit in. Means it was so crowded, place was not as much, how much crowd was there, how much people were gathered there. That means cramped means very small to fit into, means people were more, space was less and they were not getting into fit. They gazed. Gazed means to look in surprise. Who? People. People were looking with surprise at the murals. Murals, a painting or other artwork executed directly on the wall, or any artwork related to the wall, it is called as mural. So people gazed at the murals on the walls of the burial chamber and peered at Tut's gilded face. Gilded means coating of gold. I have shown you the images also. So please refresh your memory which I showed you. Otherwise you can repeat that lesson once again of the plot of the story. So Tut gilded face, peered at Tut gilded face, the most striking. Striking means prominent, very importantly. The most striking feature of his mummy-shaped outer coffin led some visitors read. Now, what was a feature? What was the special feature of the coffin? Here is your answer. Some visitors read from guidebooks in a whisper. Whispers, they received some guidebooks as well, and they were whispering. Whispering means to speak in a very low voice. Others stood silently. Perhaps pondering. Pondering means thinking. Tut's untimely death. Uncertain, untimely death was the reason in his late teens only, or wondering with a shiver. Shiver again, kind of a queer movement. If the Pharaoh's curse, death or misfortune falling upon those who disturb him was really true. Okay, it was a belief of the people as it was under process. The body's CT scan was under process and people got. The people who gathered there, you can say the local or the tourist, okay, they all were thinking maybe it is a kind of a curse if we will see and we are disturbing the body which is lying in the coffin. It's not good, even though it was untrue statement, but they believe it's true. Death or misfortune, that is why all around black clouds were moving and wind was blowing with so harshness. So they were giving the sign it's not good, that we should not disturb the king. King is sleeping. So they were thinking like that, but they were team of the scientists didn't believe in that. Moving ahead, the mummy is in very bad condition. Of course, after 3,300 years, what would be the status of the mummy? Even though it has been treated properly with the chemicals, but still it was found in very bad condition. Because of what Carter did in the 1920s, said Zahi Awaz. Zahi Awaz is next character in the story. He was the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities. Antiquities means related to the age, oldness. He was the Secretary General. Question can be raised, Zahi Awaz, who was Zahi Awaz or who was the Secretary General? As he learnt over the body for a long first look, Howard Carter, that is, was the British archaeologist who in 1922 discovered Tut's tomb after years of futile means baseless, pointless. Nothing happened means that time. So here he is explaining that in 1922 when body was discovered at storm after years of futile searching, lot of search was done that time to find out its contents. Though hastily ransacked, hastily means fastly, very fastly. Ransacked, it's a kind of a raid. Raid, it's not official raid, you can say. Here in the story, it gives us the meaning like go through a place to steal or damage something. So Zahir Abbas was not supporting because major damages happened to the body that time in 1922. So he was explaining that hastily ransacked in antiquity was surprisingly complete. They remain the richest royal collection ever found and have become part of the Pharaoh's legend. That they remain the richest royal collection. They didn't touch the richest royal collection of jewels, wealth, piece of furniture, nothing ever found which they have never seen in their life, such type of funeral treasure, and have become part of the Pharaoh's legend. It was legendary from the king's family. Stunning artifacts in gold. Now what they found in the tomb? This is the explanation. Stunning, excellent artifacts in gold. Their eternal brilliance meant to guarantee resurrection. Resurrection means restoration of the life because they believe that there is a life after that. Their death is the next phase of the life. Caused a sensation, anxiety at the time of the discovery. When things were discovered, they all got excited, anxious, and still get the most attention. But Tut was also buried with everyday things he would want. Tut was also buried like other kings related to his everything need he would want in the afterlife, like board games, a bronze razor, linen undergarment, cases of food and wine. These were the treasury which they found, and they got stunned, they got surprised because they have never seen such type of treasure in the life. After months of carefully recording Pharaoh's funerary treasure, after the months they made all the records which they found during their discovering of Tut. That's why this is the title of the story. Howard Carter began investigating his three nested coffins. Three nested coffins, it doesn't mean that three coffins differently. The one coffin nested means had three levels. The first level, when he opened the first level, he found a shroud adorned with garlands, a cloth wrapped around the dead bodies at the time of the burial. Adorned means decorated with garlands of willow and olive leaves. Now there are three levels of the coffin which he opened. As he opened, now here in this passage, please underline what they receive or what they got as they opened the coffin. What was in the first level, which was nested, three layered coffin. In the first layer, what they found. So any question can be asked in the same way. So you please underline what he found. The funerary treasure. Okay, so Carter began investigating his three nested. He checked properly the three layered coffins. The first layer, as he opened, he found a shroud, a wrap around, adorned, decorated with garlands of willows and olive leaves, wild celery, lotus petals, and cornflowers, the faded evidence of a burial in March or April. Why they have given the month of March or April? Because you all know that flora, that we get the vegetation according to the season, according to the different weather, and which things, wild celery, lotus petal, cornflowers, olive leaves, they were giving the indication that burial happened in March or April, because that was a particular season of such things which they got in the first layer of coffin, which was three nested coffin. When he finally reached the mummy, though he ran into trouble. Now, what was the next trouble he faced? It's a very important question. Even it has come many times in the long explanation that how many problems Carter faced during the discovering Tut's coffin. Okay, so these all three layered coffin. Okay, which was very hard to break the layers. And next, what he found, the ritual's resins had hardened with what were the ritual resins? It became so hardened, cement like a cement Tut to the bottom. It fixed Tut body to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. The next major problem he faced when he got into the third layer of the coffin, he found that ritual resins which were used during burial, that time 3,300 years ago, it became so hard and hardened and cemented Tut body to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. No amount of legitimate force could move them. Legitimate or collected force, they were unable, whatever they put the efforts. Too much effort even. Force was not able or enough to take the body successfully out from the coffin. Carter wrote later what was to be done. They were helpless. They were seeming like helpless that time. The sun can beat down. Now he found a way, because you can understand, even though nowadays also, that what would be the temperature if you Google it up, and you will get the exact temperature in Egypt, Cairo, that is the capital of Egypt. That temperature often goes very high. So they decided the sun can beat down like a hammer. Sun can melt all the chemicals, all the ritual resins, little bit. It can work the harsh sunlight, the bright scorching sunlight can work like a hammer this far south in Egypt. And Carter tried to use it to loosen the resin. That was his major concern, how these resins will leave the body, which has fixed up. For several hours it was kept like that. Several hours it was kept out in the sun, but nothing happened that time. Next page we have map of the exact location. You can see that in the location map of Egypt. You can Google it up also if you don't understand. In the location, Valley of the Kings, one side, another side, Valley of the Queen, and Tomb of Tutankhamun. Between both the valleys, Valley of Kings and the Queens. So this was the exact location where the tomb was discovered to get the coffin out of Tutankhamun, the last teenage ruler of Pharaoh's dynasty. Moving to the next page, after many hours, Carter or he set the mummy outside in blazing sunshine, scorching sunshine, very much hot outside, that heated it to the 149 degrees Fahrenheit. You can check the intensity of the heat there, but nothing budged, means nothing happened, nothing melted down. He reported scientific detachment that the consolidated material chiseled away. The consolidated material chiseled away means hammer away with the help of hammer, with the force of hammer. Now we need to break the layers away from beneath. Beneath means lower level, the limbs and trunk before possible to raise the king's remains. It was the king's remain. It was not the body. What I mean to say here, it was really not the body. It was just the king's remain. In his defense, Carter really had little choice. He couldn't keep the body out for long because it was so precious, gilded with gold. Okay, so he had another problem, that is thieves around which can steal away the gold of the body, because thieves have no concern about the body or the remains of the king. They have the big concern with the gold around, the precious jewels which were there in the coffin. So the mummy free, thieves most certainly would have circumvented the guards and ripped it apart to remove the gold. So how he thought? He simply thought that thieves most certainly, full chances, would have circumvented means around the coffin, the guards. They will check the guards, made damage to the coffin as well, and ripped it apart. Ripped it means separate it to remove the gold, just to remove the gold, because that is their concern. In Tut's time, the royals were fabulously wealthy, and fabulous wealthy of royal time, because Tut was a royal king, and they thought or hoped they could take their riches with them. They could steal their riches, the wealth, the jewels from them. So for his journey to the great beyond, King Tut was lavished with glittering goods. Lavished, you can understand, we often use lavish, means contented. It's glittering goods, precious collars, inlaid necklaces and bracelets, rings, amulets, a ceremonial apron, sandals, sheets for his finger, means covers for his fingers and toes, and the iconic inner coffin and mask. Apart this, whatever the jewel or the valuables were buried with the coffin, in fact the inner coffin and the mask were also so precious, all of pure gold. So it was not safe and sound to keep the body out for long to get the sunlight. So to separate Tut from his adornments, Carter's men removed the mummy's head. Mummy's head was removed and severed nearly every major joint. Once they had finished, they reassembled the remains. Now Carter gave instruction to the assistant to chisel it out, means with the hammer, separate the body anyhow. We will reassemble all the body parts. The remains on a layer of sand. Sand was all around because you know the Cairo, the location, weathery condition, it's a sandy desert. In a wooden box with padding that concealed the damage. In a wooden box, concealed means to hide the damage. The bed where Tut now rests. So they just chisel it out, means hammer it out, break it out into different separate organs and part of the bodies, and afterwards they reassemble the remains because it was very risky and Carter didn't want to take any risk about the wealth which was there openly kept. just to get the sunlight to break the layer of the hardened resin. So this is time to sign you off all for today's lecture, because I told you that I will divide the whole chapter in two parts. So first part we have done based over the plot and the theme of the story with the images which we found from the geographical channel, and second part we have started line by line explanation and the hard words which we got through. Okay, so I hope you have understood what I wanted to say you, and in tomorrow's session I will finish this chapter, and you must have received all the notes as well. I hope you are doing that. Very soon we will be coming with the unit test, so please get ready with all the content which we are giving you. Any problem, please place your query on the wall. You can approach to me on my personal wall as well. Please don't hesitate in any of the content based query or any of the problem which you are facing. So I just closed today's session. Again I am telling you about the story, that is Discovering Tut is a description of the exploration. Exploration means investigation conducted by a team of researcher Howard Carter with his researchers. It gives the account of struggles. Struggles means how they faced all the struggles, the risk which they took. Okay, the team faces to unravel. Unravel means find out the mystery. Find out the mystery that he was murdered, King Tut was murdered, or he died natural. He got natural death. Mystery of the death of a teenager ruler, King Tut, because he was the most important ruler, as he was the last teenager of famous ancient Pharaoh dynasty. So the story highlights the change in the methods of archaeology from a few decades back to the present era of modern technology. In 1922, how it was done, and in 2006, how it was done, because they got the technology, advanced technology of computed tomography, that is CT scan. It gives us an idea about the kind of exploration conducted in 1922 by Carter, when there was no modern method to extract from the remains. What they wanted to extract, the reason, the actual reason. So they constructed forensic reconstruction was really a great help, but they didn't get any clue. So rest of the things we will do in next session. Stay safe, stay protected till the time. Support your parents, love your parents. Goodbye.